Alan Shields here, Chief of Police for the town, and we're tenant in service, which means we're here to make people's lives better, and we do that through safeguarding the lives, rights, and property of the people we serve. This is a live show, so if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and pick us up in the chat. We're watching both YouTube and Facebook, so if you're on either of them, you can throw your questions or comments right there in the chat, and we'll get to them during the show. Anything I can't get to during the show, we'll get to afterwards. There are some helpful links in the description. Links for the Wildfire Preparedness and Evacuation Guide, how to sign up and opt in for the Sheriff's Office Community Warning System, the PG&E website, which has a lot of good information on power outages and how you can stay informed and actually be prepared, and then the FEMA All Hazards Checklist, which helps you to prepare you, your family, for those events that may take place that are really the infrequent events, the earthquakes, the fires, but those that, if they do happen and you're not prepared, it can be pretty devastating. And we've seen that in, well, frankly, it seems like every year. Every year we see disasters across the state where it's clear that some people are prepared and some are not. We're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover sextortion. I've borrowed a video from San Jose Police Department, their Silicon Valley Crimes Against Children Task Force. It's a short video. I'm going to play it only because the staff did a very good job of not only defining what it is, but hopefully breaking down some of the barriers and getting people to report, because that is the toughest part. And we do see victimization right here in Danville, which is why we looked it up. We do have people that are calling in and reporting being victims of sextortion, and so we're encouraging people, please make sure that you call. But I want to play that video later on, so stay tuned for that. With that, we're going to get on to the blotter. All right, communitycrimeapp.com. You can go and get updates there. You can also zoom into your area or any area you choose, and you can get email updates, kind of daily digest updates. This is actually really low for collisions. The first one was on the 20th. That was a single vehicle that rear-ended a stopped vehicle on the side of the road on 900 block of Diablo Road. So the car was somewhat illegally parked because they were stopped in the bike lane, and then the vehicle hit him from behind. On the 23rd, there was a solo bicycle collision due to a mechanical issue on Camino Tasajara and Buckingham Drive. Both had some form of injury to them. One was a minor injury, one was a significant injury. On to crime, really not much. If you look, that's about as clean as you're going to get. The one crime we had is way out east there. That's the Purple House. That means residential burglary. And other than that, we didn't have any crime. The residential burglary is pretty interesting, though, in that it was initially it started out as a theft from an unlocked vehicle. And this led to an open, they opened the garage door from there, and then they took things from the house. So the fact that they got into the car, that was one theft. And then they went, and during the commission of that theft, they were able to open the garage door. Then they entered the building. If you remember, we talked about the definition of burglary is just simply entering a building with the intent to commit theft or any felony. And then they stole things from the garage. So it made that one event a residential burglary. So the takeaway on that is, and I was at fault for this as well, but the takeaway is if you have like a garage door opener or something in your car that can open your garage, don't leave it in there. The other thing is some cars, believe it or not, and you should check this on your car as soon as you get done watching this. Some of the cars, even if the car is off, there's no key in it, the garage door opener that you program in there will work. And in some cars it works, and some cars it doesn't. We used to have a Honda where it would work. So even if you just open the car, as long as the car was not locked, so if you left your car unlocked, you could hit those buttons and open and close your garage door all day long. Some of the newer cars don't do that. You have to actually have the key and those sort of things to make the HomeLink system work. But make sure that you keep that garage door, if it's a physical garage door, keep it out of sight. If your program keys will work, then it should be the car that you keep inside the garage all the time, or I would deprogram that. I would not have my garage door programmed in there. Now, if you look at the bold letters, what about the robbery I saw next door in Twitter or X? So there was another robbery that happened in Danville. It just didn't happen in Danville's jurisdiction. It happened on the 680 off-ramp to 680, or the off-ramp to 680 from to El Cerro. Because it occurred on the off-ramp, that that took place in the Highway Patrol's jurisdiction. So we did respond. We do respond to help out, just like CHP responds and helps us out a lot. We responded to help out, but ultimately they're the agency that investigates that. So when it comes to stats, when it comes to investigations, when it comes to information release, that all goes to CHP. So I realized that crime did occur in Danville. It just didn't occur in the town of Danville's jurisdiction. All right, let's move on to the arrest log. A couple of arrests, and remember this, although we try to push as much information out as we can, we do not include things like family arrests. We do that to protect the privacy of the people involved. We want to make sure that victims aren't, their privacy is not violated. On the 23rd, we actually had 2 arrests, both for DUI. Although the first one, a man was arrested, booked in the Martinez jail for DUI and possession of a controlled substance, and he was stopped on Shady Creek Place in Cedar Lane Court. The second arrest, also on the 23rd, that man was also booked into jail for DUI, and he was stopped at Crow Canyon and Camino Taceros. 2 arrests, DUI. Your officers are out there quite a bit on that, and so yeah, they're definitely out there working that. So please pass the word along. If you're, your friends, family, if you're going out to dinner, please don't drink and drive. The officers are out there. We actually will have additional teams on. So normally we have our patrol teams on. Those are the ones that do traffic enforcement and respond to 911 calls and do proactive policing in areas where we know crime to be occurring. So there's that. But in addition to that, we'll actually put additional officers on say like a Thursday night, a Friday night, a Saturday night, nights where we know we tend to see more driving under the influence and DUI collisions. So please know that that's something we take serious, and that is something that we provide additional resources to. All right, we're going to go on to the annual or the quarterly report. There is a link in the description. If you want to check any of these out, I've got, I think, the past 3 or 4 annual reports in there, and about the last half a dozen or so quarterly reports. So a lot of good information there. This is just the second half of the quarterly report that we gave council a couple of weeks ago. And the complete report can be found in the on the link in the description below. Now, we went over and we've been going over this a lot, but class 1 and 2 e-bikes, because we've gone over it so much on the show, I'm actually going to go through this pretty quick, but I want to give you a visual representation of what it is that we are presenting to council. Class 1 and 2 e-bikes, remember, those are the ones either with a throttle or a pedal assist that'll go up to 20 miles an hour. Anyone can ride these. Those under 18 must have a helmet, and those 2 are allowed on the Iron Horse Trail. This one, a class 3 e-bike, this is a pedal assist, can go up to 28 miles an hour, not allowed on the Iron Horse Trail. You must be 16 years old to ride it, and all ages, so adults included, must wear a helmet. E-scooters, these are the ones that seem to gather the most controversy. Looks similar to what you see there, 15 miles per hour, must have a license or permit, and only 1 person per vehicle. Now, these ones are tricky because some of these are like the Super 73s that you'll see out there. If you go to the Super 73 website, they will market those vehicles as class 1, class 2, class 3, and off-road. And the way the vehicle code is written, you can't actually be all of those, because the vehicle code has a section in there that says if you alter the vehicle in such a way that it can go faster, it is no longer a class 1, 2, or 3 e-bike. Then it has to fall into, is it a motorized bicycle, a moped, or is it functionally a motorcycle? And motorized bicycles and moped, which is what you would see here, those can only go up to 30 miles an hour, and those require a M1 or M2 endorsed motorcycle license. They also require that you wear a DOT helmet, so a regular motorcycle helmet. Motor-driven cycles, these don't have speed limits. These are smaller vehicles, displace less than 150 cubic centimeters. There's no pedals on these. Again, the driver must have an M1, M2 endorsement, or must wear a DOT-approved helmet. This is the one that you see in town as well. This is essentially a dirt bike, but because it's got an electric motor on it, people are calling them e-bikes. They are not e-bikes. And what we're seeing is kids drive these around, and these are capable of, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. And we're seeing kids ride these around sometimes with no helmets, sometimes with a bicycle helmet, and very rarely with an actual, dirt bike helmet. Either way, these aren't allowed anywhere in town. There's no road, there's no pathway, there's no nothing. They're just not allowed in town. So we're trying to encourage people. We realize, and you all that watch this show probably are better educated than most, only because we've been pushing the info out. But that's pretty complicated, right? Does it go 20? Does it go 28? Does it go 30? Pedals, no pedals? Is it throttle assist? It can be pretty confusing. Our thought is when in doubt, if you can have people call us, we're more than happy to work with them to explain what the rules of the road are and make sure that people are complying. We talked about the why before. If you go back a couple of episodes, we talked about the dangers associated with being involved in an accident with one of these. Certainly, if you're only wearing a bicycle helmet or no helmet, it can be pretty devastating. So what is your police department doing to get the word out? We had made these yard signs, and we placed these on the Iron Horse Trail and at the schools. And if you look, it's got kind of the rules of the road. So for an e-scooter, you must have a license, wear a helmet if you're under 18 and ride in the bike lane. And what you can't do is you can't ride it on the sidewalk, double ride, or ride faster than 15 miles an hour. Also, we have our officers out and they're handing out flyers. These flyers are intended to target the people that are actually committing the violations. And we're trying to make sure that they're aware of what the rules are. We also want to do follow-up with the parents. We have had conversations with parents after the fact, and we're trying to work with them to make sure they understand what the rules are. Ultimately, it does lead to enforcement where the officers are out and they're actually stopping some of the kids that they see doing these violations. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll just post up at like the Iron Horse Trail because it's an easy point to stop and get out. Hopefully we're not seeing police officers, code 3 lights and siren 40 miles an hour in the neighborhood to try to catch these kids. But we're doing it a little smarter than that. Also, we're working with the school district. So here's a good post where we had a social media campaign, and Jeff Osborne, the principal over at Diablo Vista Middle School, he's the one that kind of led the charge on this one. It was really good. We did an interview together where we explained the differences between e-bikes, scooters, and off-highway motorcycles. And then we went over the rules. And kind of the irony is that scooter that you see in the picture there, you should see 0 of those at a middle school, because no kid at a middle school is old enough to actually ride one because they can't possibly have a permit or a license. We're also putting information out on social media. You can see in 10.8. And then you see down on the lower right, that's the mayor. Town Talks with the Mayor. She thought it was important with the downtown master plan, the Prospector website, to also throw in some content on e-bikes. And the last thing we covered in the annual report or the quarterly report was to stay connected. So this QR code that you see to the left, if you scan that, you will be taken right to our webpage on all the different ways that you can stay connected with us. We realize that, we can't tell people, hey, we're only on Facebook, come to Facebook. So we try to be where you're at: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So that is the down and dirty for the quarterly report. I encourage you just check it out. Go down in the description and take a look. Now we do take feedback, and we've actually had someone that gave me a really long email that had some really good points. And one of the things we did as an action item based on that was she had recommended, it would be easier on YouTube if you just created a playlist with all the full episodes in it. Well, we actually had one. We didn't publicize it, for one, but it wasn't up to date. I realized the last 6 episodes hadn't been pushed over to that playlist. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can see that there is a playlist tab there. These videos, naturally, by the way YouTube works, gets thrown into the live tab. And then if you want to go to the playlist, just click on that playlist button. And then down in the playlist, you can see there's a Danville PD 10.8 full episodes list. We also put one in there for burglary because we were having an issue with burglaries before, and we wanted to kind of compile all those videos into one. All right. So it looks like I've got some info in the chat here. Let me see. So hi, Sue. Hi, Dina. And then Sue says, I saw a young girl on a motorized bike today, no license on it and no helmet on the young girl. She looked like she was 13 or 14. So Sue, we're seeing that too. That's why we're trying to be aggressive with having our officers out there and stopping people. We're encouraging people to let their neighbors and family members know, in a respectful way, but let them know that, hey, there are rules around these different types of vehicles. And you can always point to one of these pages, or frankly, just have them reach out directly to us over here at the police department. All right, sextortion. So what is sextortion? Well, it's actually, our officer from San Jose is going to explain it. But I do want to say that this is something, we are seeing this in town. And sextortion typically takes the place, and we'll see two different versions of it here in town. And it's basically a play on extortion. It's telling someone to pay you money, or it can also come in the form of trying to like dirty up an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend because of the breakup. And so usually it is one where the video usually they're always voluntarily taken, but the video might have been taken boyfriend, girlfriend, and then there's a breakup, and then someone, either side, uses the video for negative reasons. The other is you may get kids that meet one another on social media sites, and when they meet, they get catfished. Someone pretends to be someone they're not. They get a video, and then they threaten to use that video for money. The problem is because it puts people in such a vulnerable light, there's stigmatism about not reporting it. So we really want to encourage people to report it. But the video here is really good. So let me let that play, because they do an excellent job of defining what it is and how to avoid being a victim. But please realize this is something that we see right here in Danville.
Hello, my name is Elle Washburn, Deputy Chief of the Bureau of Investigations for the San Jose Police Department, the lead law enforcement agency for the Silicon Valley Internet Crimes Against Children here in California. I am here to introduce you to Ms. Pauline Stewart, mother to Ryan Last, who became a victim to online sextortion. Sextortion is a threat made by an individual stating that they will expose the victim's explicit or nude video or photo with others unless the victim complies with their demands. Often, the perpetrator extorts the victim for money or more explicit videos or photos in return. Ms. Stewart is here to speak on how one photo changed her son's and her family's lives forever.
My name is Pauline Stewart, and I'm a mother of 2 teenage boys. I'm here to tell you about my son, Ryan. Ryan was a victim of sextortion. Sextortion happens when a person blackmails or threatens to distribute your private or explicit photos or videos. If you do not send more explicit photos or videos, money, or engage in activities that may be sexual or illegal in nature. This individual may also threaten to harm your friends or family unless you comply with their demands. Unfortunately, Ryan ended up taking his life due to the extreme pressure that was put on him by the person demanding money and threatening to distribute explicit photos of him. My son Ryan was a senior at Ann Sobrato High School. He was a straight-A student who was planning on attending Washington State University and majoring in agricultural biotechnology. He loved the Future Farmers of America program and was their chapter secretary, and raised his sheep for their supervised agriculture experience project. He was also a Boy Scout who was working on his Eagle Scout project. He combined his love for FFA and Boy Scouts with the plan to build a shed for the school farm for his Eagle Scout project. In his junior year of his high school, he fell in love with a theater program. He has been involved in building the sets for the school productions. He was looking forward to starting college. He had just finished a tour of 6 Southern California colleges, which helped him decide on Washington State University. Ryan was a very trusting person. The individual who sextorted Ryan pretended to be a young girl interested in my son. They, in other words, catfished my son and gained his trust through flirting and showing interest. Ryan truly believed that he was talking to a young girl. This is one of the huge problems with social media. People can pretend to be anyone. The fact that he was told that they would send out or post the pictures on social media had a devastating impact on Ryan. He chose to end his life rather than have the pictures distributed on social media. He believed his reputation would be destroyed, and he was terrified of what his friends and family would think. I really want parents to understand that there are dangers with the online world our kids are involved in. My husband and I had parental controls on our kids' accounts. We knew their passwords and they could not download any apps without our approval. We thought with all of these precautions that nothing like this could happen to our family. We honestly never thought that this was possible when we created the parental controls. We were so very wrong. We want to make sure that this does not happen to another family. We want to make sure that parents are aware of the risks out there. We would also like them to talk to their kids so that kids feel that they can come to their parents if they make a mistake. Social media is the way that kids are getting targeted in these types of scams. I think that parents should go home and talk to their kids about a few things, such as what apps they use and who they communicate with. I know that a lot of kids play online games against other people. One thing that I would like to stress is that if someone reaches out to them and tries to befriend them, they need to be very careful. I always loved that Ryan trusted and believed in people. Unfortunately, this was a huge part of what made Ryan the perfect target. I truly don't know how to create the correct balance between trusting and being skeptical. I know that parents need to talk to their children about what to do if someone they don't know reaches out to them. Ryan was my firstborn and an amazing and loving child. His loss has devastated our family. My younger son lost his brother, best friend, his innocence, and trusting nature in one night. Ryan's younger brother has never been interested in getting on social media before this and has had to grow up way too fast. Ryan truly believed that his error in judgment of trusting someone was too much to handle. Please stress with your child that you love them and that if something like this happens, that your family can work it out. We want to get Ryan's story out there so that no other family has to go through what we have. We want to educate both parents and kids about the risks out there, and especially about sending compromising pictures to people on the internet.
The Silicon Valley Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force has learned that funding for the California ICAC program.
Well, that's a pretty compelling story. I've listened to it a few times, and some of the things that stand out to me, if you don't know, I've got a 14, 17, and 20-year-old, all boys. They're online, right? And I'm the same thing. I'm the IT dad in the household, putting restrictions and all that, and you can think you put all these safeguards and guardrails in place, but then they're online. And there have been times where I go into one of my kids' rooms and I'm like, hey, who are you playing with? And sometimes it's kids from school and other times it's randos, right? Random people. And that represents an opportunity for someone wanting to do harm. And so it's something that you have to have those conversations with your kids. If they do get into that, they need to have people they trust, you, me, all of us, that they can come to and say, hey, I'm now in this situation that isn't very good. How do we navigate through this? And so a lot of it is just like any other crime, it's in identifying potential for that crime to exist. And then how do we, when we're in it, how do we mitigate any of the damage that may be caused by it? So I hope that answers some of the questions. I hope that kind of explains what's going on, but please understand that is exactly a crime that we see here in Danville. We do see it with some frequency. I'm not saying it happens every day, but more than you think. It isn't something we report on because we do protect the privacy rights of people involved, and we don't want them to be shamed. And the reason we don't do that, for sex-related crimes, for family violence crimes, is we want to encourage an environment where people feel comfortable in coming forward to the police, knowing I can come to the police and they're going to help. They're going to keep me safe. They're going to do what they need to do to hold the person accountable for doing their wrong deed. But it's not going to be splashed all over social media or the news or anything like that. It's very important that we do that. All right. So please pass that word around, and that'll be good. All right. So again, link in the description. Download the Wildfire Preparedness and Evacuation Guide. Make sure you opt in. You have to opt in for the community warning system. If something is happening, the wildfires cresting over Las Trampas or something, that's how we're going to let you know, that in Nixle. So if you don't opt in, you won't get the advance notice that all your neighbors are going to get. PG&E, make sure you log into their page. That's how you can get alerts, and then download the FEMA All Hazards Guide. We've gone over that. With that, I'm checking the chat. I don't see anything else in there, but I appreciate everyone for joining us live and those that watch later. Thank you very much. And we do listen. If you give us feedback, if there's something you want to see, we've been doing more breakdowns of the law, bringing the jury instructions out, kind of defining what the violations are. So you have those. So if you have feedback or you have something that you'd like to see, this is your show. It's not mine. This is yours. Let us know what you'd like to see, and we'd be happy to work on that. With that, thanks everyone, and have a good night. We're 10-10, but always 10-8 in service to all of you.